back, everyone. We'll continue with the epidemiological studies of certain diseases, starting from acute respiratory infection. So, what is acute respiratory infection? It will be cough, cold, pneumonia, certain like that. Okay. So, infection of the respiratory tract is called acute respiratory infection. And here, ARI may cause inflammation of the respiratory tract anywhere from nose to alveoli with a range of combination of symptoms it depending on the site of infection. So, wherever this infection is caused in throughout the respiratory system, so based on the site, there will be different names. Okay. ARI is often classified by clinical syndromes depending on the site of the infection. Okay. Based on the site, again, it is classified as a certain syndromes. ARI may be acute upper respiratory infection or acute lower respiratory infection. There will be two types. The lower respiratory tract infections include epiglottitis, laryngitis, laryngotracheitis, bronchitis, bronchiolitis, and pneumonia. That is lower respiratory tract infection below the epiglottis. And above the epiglottis, there will be common cold, pharyngitis, and otitis media. That is the upper respiratory tract infection. This is what the system looks like. First, there is nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, that is upper respiratory tract infection, and below that, below the epiglottis or below the larynx, it is called as lower respiratory tract infection. It contains trachea, bronchus, and lungs. So, the first picture shows how the normal airway will be. There are layers. Okay, inner layer is called the mucous membrane, and the middle is muscle and outside. Okay? And the muscle will be little thinner, but when the symptom starts, it will thickens. Okay, so that the airway will be narrowed. There will be limited airflow, and the muscle will be tightened, and which will cause the constriction of airway, and there will be airway wall also thickened because of the inflammation. There will be production of the mucus also. The clinical features include here running nose, cough, sore throat, difficult breathing, and ear problem. Fever is also common in acute respiratory infection. Okay. Wherever the infection occurs or inflammation is there will be fever. Most children have minor symptoms such as cold or cough. However, some children may have pneumonia, which is a major cause of death. So, in the commonly there will be cold and cough, but when it comes to the serious matter, it will be pneumonia. It may cause the death of children. Okay. Sometimes measles and whooping cough are important cause of severe respiratory tract infection. So, measles and whooping cough we will be studying in the further chapters. That is also a kind of infection which will stimulate this respiratory tract infection, severe respiratory tract infection, and because of that there will be death of the patient. Okay. So, what are the epidemiological factors of this disease? Coming to the agents, the dynamics of upper respiratory tract infection occurs through viruses, aerobic bacteria, and anaerobic bacteria. Under this viruses will directly synergize. Okay? It will directly affect the respiratory tract. Example nowadays corona. Okay, that also comes under here. This will cause the constriction of the airway. There will be difficulty breathing. There will be infection, cough, cold, fever. This everything comes here. Okay, that's also kind of acute respiratory tract infection. Okay? And in the anatomical changes, there will be constriction of airway, and immunity increases and adherence increases. Adherence means the thickening of the airway. There will be attachment, and there will be cilia. There will be paralysis of cilia. The cilia means it's like a hair-like structures inside the respiratory system. That paralysis occurs. And the aerobic bacteria which causes this ARI is Streptococcus pneumonia, Haemophilus influenzae, and Moraxella catarrhales. Okay, these are the aerobic bacteria, and anaerobic bacteria are Prevotella, Fusobacteria, and Peptostreptococcus. So these are the agents which are causing the upper respiratory tract infection. So the microbial agents that cause ARI are numerous. There are many. They could be classified as bacteria, virus, and other agents that we have seen already. Okay. Under bacteria, again, classification like Bordetella pertussis, Haemophilus influenza, Legionella pneumophila, Streptococcus pneumoniae, Corynebacterium diphtheriae, Klebsiella pneumonia, Streptococcus pyogenes, Streptococcus and Streptococcus pyogenes. So these are the bacteria which causes the respiratory tract infection. And the viruses are adenovirus, influenza ABC, parainfluenza, rhinovirus. And the enteroviruses, measles, respiratory syncytial virus, and coronavirus. So these are the viruses which are causing the respiratory tract infection. This we have seen already. And the host factor. Small children succumb to the disease within a matter of days because of their decreased anatomical structure of respiratory system. Okay, their airway is very small, so that there will be increased chances of getting the respiratory tract infection. Case fatality rates are higher in young infants and malnourished children. There will be decreased immunity in the malnourished children and young infants because there will be anatomical structure is very small. Adults are also affected, and the symptoms tend to be more among females. What are the risk factors? Climatic condition and housing are noted as the major risk factors. Overcrowding, poor nutrition, low birth weight, and intense indoor smoke pollution underline the high rates. So now we have seen social distancing. What is social distancing? That is away from the overcrowding. If the overcrowding is, there will be more chances of getting the infection. Okay? And due to poor nutrition, low birth weight, and low immunity, that will cause the respiratory tract infection. Children from low socioeconomic status tend to have more episodes of ARI because of less sanitation and less immunity. The infection is common in preschool children attending daycare centers because there will be overcrowding, and the infection will transfer very soon in the children. Infection tend to be more in urban communities than in rural community because of more population and less sanitation sometimes. Maternal smoking has been linked to increased occurrence of respiratory tract infection during the first year of life. Okay, if the mother is smoking during the pregnancy, then there will be chances of getting the respiratory tract infection to the youngest child, infant. So how the transmission occurs here? Mode of transmission. The organisms are transmitted by the airborne route. Airborne route means through the air, maybe a droplet. The chain of infection is maintained by direct person-to-person contact. Here, person-to-person contact, through that, there will be chance of transmission of the diseases or the agents. And the clinical assessment, how it is done? History taking and clinical assessment is very important in the management. So, how the infection occurred and why it is occurred, what is the immunity level, or low birth weight, or everything we should see in the clinical assessment. So, when you take the history, you should know the following: age of the child, duration of cough, whether the child is able to drink, and that is 2 to 5 months. Has the young infant stopped feeding well? Child less than 2 months. Okay, we should ask these questions with the parents. Any antecedent illness such as measles, we should ask whether they got any infections like measles. If the child is excessively drowsy or difficult to wake, whether the child is very drowsy or whether it is waking up properly in time. Did the child have convulsions? Were there any convulsive episodes? Convulsion means in normal language we call fits. Okay, was there any convulsion? Is there irregular breathing? That also we should ask. And whether there is any apnea. Apnea means the stoppage of the breathing for a particular period. That is called apnea. That is short period of apnea. History of child turning blue because the oxygen is very less in the body. That's why there will be turning up blue. History of treatment during illness. There was any illness? Fever was there or not? That also we should ask. And in the physical examination, look and listen to the following. That is, count the breaths in 1 minute. Okay, breathing we should check. As the children get older, their breathing rates slow down. That also we should know in the mind. Therefore, the cutoff point used to determine if a child has fast breathing will depend on the age of the child. Okay, based on the child, you should count the breathing. Count the respiratory rate 1 full minute using seconds hand of the watch, looking at the abdominal movement or lower chest when the child is calm. So you know this, how to check the breathing. You will see the minute with the minute watch. You will see the abdominal movement or chest movement. The chest and abdomen must be exposed for counting. Increased respiratory rate is significant only if it is persists. Okay, if there is any chances, there will be increased respiratory rate. Fast breathing is present when respiratory rate is 60 breaths per minute or more in a child less than 2 months. Okay, there be if the child is 2 months, there will be 60 breaths per minute. Okay, if the age is 2 months to 12 months, there will be 50 breaths per minute, and 12 months to 5 years, there will be 40 breaths per minute. That is normal. Okay. Repeat the count for a young infant age less than 2 minutes. If the count is 60 breaths per minute or more, this is important because the breath rate of young children is often erratic. Okay, they will be sometimes changing, and it is very important. More than 60 is sometimes abnormal. Okay. Occasionally, young infants stop breathing for a few seconds and then breathe very rapidly for a short period. Okay. Sometimes the infants or newborn children will stop breathing for a few seconds. Suddenly they will start rapid. Okay, that is normal sometimes. Look for chest indrawing. Look for chest indrawing when the child breathes in. Okay, when you are observing, when you are doing assessment, you should check whether there is a chest indrawing. The child has indrawing of the chest if the lower chest wall goes in while the child breathes in. Okay, if the indrawing is there, the lower chest will go inside. Okay, and when child breathing, chest indrawing occurs when the effort required to breathing is much greater than normal. Okay, when there is effort, okay, when there is constriction of the airway sometimes or cold or something, the child require more force for the breathing, so there will be chest indrawing. Look and listen for stridor. It is a kind of harsh noise. Okay, when breathing in, stridor noise. Stridor occurs when there is narrowing of the larynx, trachea or epiglottis, which interferes with the air entering the lungs. Okay, if there is any crackling sound, stridor sound, that means there is narrowed larynx and trachea. Okay, these conditions are often called as croup. Okay, that is also a kind of disease, croup. We will be studying it detail in the further chapter. Okay, and next you should check for the wheezing. Is there any wheezing? Okay, child with wheeze makes a soft noise or shows signs that breathing out is difficult. Wheezing is caused by narrowing of the air passage in the lungs. The breathing out phase takes longer than normal and requires effort. Wheezing means, you may be heard of asthma patient, how they breathe. There will be whistling sound. Okay, that is breathing out is very difficult, means there will be a sound. Okay, wheezing sound. The breathing out phase takes longer than normal and requires effort. Okay, breathing out takes a normal period, longer than a normal, and it requires the certain force. If the child has wheezing, ask the mother if her child had a previous episode of wheezing within the past year. Okay, if the child is having wheezing, you should ask about the history, whether they had the wheezing before. If so, the child should be classified as having recurrent wheeze. Okay. See if the child is abnormally sleepy or difficult to wake. An abnormally sleepy child is drowsy most of the time when he or she should be awake and alert. Okay. Normally, the child after the sleep will be awake and alert, but if the child is drowsy, you should ask why it is, and you should note down that. Feel for fever or low body temperature. Look for severe malnutrition. Malnutrition when present is a high risk factor in case fatality rates are higher in such children. Okay. If the children is having the malnutrition, there will be more chance of fatality. Okay, the child may die because of the ARI. In severely malnutrition children with pneumonia, fast breathing and chest indrawing may not be as evident as in the children. Okay, if the baby is malnourished, again with the baby is having pneumonia, there will be fast breathing and chest indrawing. A severely malnourished child may have an impaired or absent response to hypoxia and a weak or absent cough reflex. Okay, if the baby is malnourished, there will be decreased sign of hypoxia and there will be less cough reflex. These children need careful evaluation for pneumonia as well as careful management. Cyanosis is a sign of hypoxia. Okay, so if cyanosis means is a bluish discoloration from mucous membrane in the nails. So if there is any color discoloration, there will be hypoxia. Cyanosis must be checked in good light. So how the classification of ARI is done? First, very severe disease, severe pneumonia, pneumonia, and no pneumonia, or there will be cough or cold. And in the very severe disease, the child presents the following manifestation: not able to drink, convulsion, stridor, and severe malnutrition. This we have seen already. If the child is not able to drink, a child who is not able to drink could have severe pneumonia or bronchiolitis, septicemia, throat abscess, meningitis, or cerebral malaria. If the baby cannot drink, so we can guess like baby may have bronchiolitis, septicemia. Septicemia means there will be a infection in the blood, throat abscess. Abscess means pus formation in the throat, meningitis, inflammation of the meninges, cerebral malaria. If it is having convulsion, then we can think the pneumonia. The baby may have severe pneumonia resulting in hypoxia, sepsis, cerebral malaria, or meningitis. Meningitis can develop as a complication of pneumonia, or it can occur on its own. So meningitis may be the secondary disease due to pneumonia, or it may be a firstborn. In the calm child, if there is any stridor, that means there will be a threatening obstruction of the airway from swelling of pharynx, trachea, and or epiglottis. So this we have seen how the normal airway will be and during symptom how it is. If the baby is having severe malnutrition, okay, it is at high risk of developing and dying from pneumonia. In addition, the child may not show typical sign of the illness. In the severe pneumonia, respiratory rate is most important sign to consider when assessing the child for pneumonia. Presence of chest indrawing should also be noted. So respiratory rate you should know and you should check considering when assessing the child for pneumonia, and chest indrawing also you should note. Pneumonia and its type, there will be fungal pneumonia, viral pneumonia, bacterial pneumonia, and there will be sometimes autoimmune disease, and due to drugs also sometimes there will be pneumonia. See here definition is given. Pneumonia is an inflammatory condition of the lungs affecting mainly the air sacs of alveoli. That is the see A is normal or the structure of the respiratory system, and the B is normal alveoli. There will be air space, but in the alveoli with the pneumonia, that is page figure number C, the inflammation in alveolar wall and fluid and pus filled airspace contains bacteria and blood cells. So the airspace is filled with the blood or the bacteria or the pus. That's why we can't breathe properly. It will lead to the death. Okay. Child is classified under pneumonia has other signs such as nasal flaring, when the nose widens as the child is breathing. So if the child is having nasal flaring, we can see by the nose will widen, okay, during breathing. Grunting, the short sound made with a voice when the child has difficulty in breathing. Grunting will occur. Okay, grunting sound. That's because of they'll be difficult in the breathing. Cyanosis, a dark bluish or purplish coloration of the skin caused by hypoxia. That we have seen. Some children with chest indrawing also have wheezing. And pneumonia, it's if it is not severe, how it is. A child who has fast breathing but no chest indrawing is classified as pneumonia. Okay, if the child is having fast breathing but no chest indrawing, then it is called pneumonia but not severe. Most children are classified under this category if they are brought early for treatment. Next, no pneumonia, cough or cold. Most children with a cough or difficulty breathing do not have any danger signs of pneumonia. Chest indrawing or fast breathing will not be there. Okay, that is just cough or cold. These children have simple cold or cough. They do not need any antibiotic. The child gets better in 1 to 2 weeks. So, what is the treatment plan? If the based on the classification, there will be a treatment. If the signs are chest indrawing with or without wheeze, so the treatment are treat fever if present, treat wheezing. If referral is not available, treat with antibiotic and follow closely. And the classifications are severe pneumonia, cough, cold. The signs are under this chest indrawing with or without wheeze. And the treatment is refer urgently hospital, give first dose of antibiotic, treat fever if present, treat wheezing. If referral is not available, treat with antibiotic and follow closely. That is in the severe pneumonia. Okay, and the classification is pneumonia, and its signs are no chest indrawing and fast breathing will be there. 50 minutes or more if child 2 months. 50 per minute or more if child is 2 months up to 12 months. 40 per minute or more if child 12 months up to 5 years. That is the breathing. Okay, 50 minutes or more in the 2 months to 12 months, 40 per minute in the 12 months to 5 years. That we have to see in the signs. And the treatment is advise mother to give home care, administer antibiotic and treat fever if present. Treat wheezing also, and advise mother to return with child in 2 days for reassessment or earliest if the child is getting worse. And the classification next is no pneumonia, cough or cold will be there. The signs are no chest indrawing, no fast breathing. And the treatment is assess and treat ear problem or sore throat if present. Assess and treat other problems. Advise mother to give home care, treat fever if present, and treat wheezing if present. A reassessment in 2 days, who is taking antibiotic for pneumonia. And the reassessment occurs with the sign not able to drink, has chest indrawing, has other danger sign, and improvement means they are breathing slower, less fever, and eating better. Treatment: refer urgently to hospital, change antibiotic or refer. Finish 5 days of antibiotic. That's the reassessment treatment. So, how the treatment of pneumonia occurs? In India, there be cotrimoxazole is a drug of choice, and cotrimoxazole is less expensive with few side effects. That's why we are using cotrimoxazole. Okay? And the schedule is how you should give. The pediatric tablet like sulfamethoxazole, that is 100 mg, and trimethoprim, that is 20 mg, and syrup, each spoon, that is tablet sulfamethoxazole 200 mg and trimethoprim 40 mg. Syrup 5 ml only you are giving. If the baby is below 2 month weight and 3 to 5 kg, one tablet twice daily, and syrup is half spoon 2.5 ml twice a day. This we are seeing. If the baby is 1 to 5 years, weight is 10 to 19 kg, that 3 tablets twice a day and syrup 1.5 spoon or 7.5 ml twice a day. 2 months to 5 years, how if the baby is having severe pneumonia? Antibiotics are benzyl penicillin, ampicillin, chloramphenicol, and dosages are 50,000 international unit per kg per dose. Benzyl penicillin you are giving 6 hourly in the IM mode, intramuscular, that is injection, and ampicillin you are giving 50 mg per kg per dose 6 hourly intramuscularly, and chloramphenicol 25 mg per kg per dose 6 hourly intramuscular. And If the condition improves, then for next 3 days, procaine penicillin you will give, and ampicillin and chloramphenicol. If no improvement, then for next 48 hours, change the antibiotic. If ampicillin is used, to change the, if ampicillin you have used in the previous, change it to the chloramphenicol. Chloramphenicol is used, then change to cloxacillin, that is 25 mg per kg per dose every 6 hours, along with the gentamicin 2.5 mg per kg per dose 8 hours. If condition improves, continue treatment orally. Okay, oral tablets you are giving. The doses can be rounded off to nearest administrable dose, like provide symptomatic treatment for fever and wheezing if required, monitor food and fluid intake, advise mother on home management on discharge. And treatment of pneumonia in children aged less than 2 months. The antibiotic given is benzapenicillin, ampicillin and gentamicin, that is 12 hourly you are giving here. And with no pneumonia, just do not administer antibiotic and only symptomatic treatment is given. How you can prevent the ARI? Immunization is an important measure to reduce the incidence of ARI, and health promotional activities should be undertaken. Okay? That is the prevention of ARI. And immunizations like vaccine hold promise of saving millions of children dying of pneumonia. 3 vaccines have potential of reducing deaths from pneumonia. So the vaccines are measles vaccine, Hib vaccine, that is Haemophilus influenza B vaccine, pneumococcal pneumonia vaccine. These are the vaccine you are giving. And measles vaccine in India, MMR trivalent vaccine is administered to infant on completing 9 months of age. In the 9 months, you are giving MMR. And PI refer epidemiology of measles. Hib vaccine, it is just important cause of pneumonia and meningitis among the children, that is Hib. So its high cost has posed obstacle to its utilization in the developing countries. It is very rare we are giving in the India. That is Hib vaccine, Hib. The vaccine is often given as a combined preparation with DPT and polio vaccine. Okay? DPT means diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus. With that and polio vaccine, you are giving this Hib vaccine. That is nowadays we call pentavalent. 3 or 4 doses are given depending on the type of manufacturers. That is 6, 10, 14 weeks, and booster doses at 14 months you are giving. 6, 10, 14 means 1.5, 2.5 and 3.5 weeks a month you are giving this. The vaccine is not offered to children aged more than 24 months. No serious side effects have been recorded till now. Pneumococcal pneumonia vaccine, that is PPV23, that is a polysaccharide non-conjugate vaccine containing capsular antigen of 23 serotype against this infection is available. This is not much important. This is the pneumococcal vaccine looks like. A dose of 0.5 ml of PPV23 contains 25 micrograms of purified capsular antigen, and it is administered in the IM, okay, in the deltoid muscle. Protective capsular type specific antibody generally developed by the 3rd week following vaccination. The antibody will be provided developed within the 3 weeks of vaccination. 2 conjugate vaccines are available since 2009, that is PCV10 and PCV13, and recommended storage temperature is 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. So that's what about the ARI. We'll see in the next chapter. Thank you.